Hi, I'm Ollie Mitchell, and this QLab tutorial is going to focus on using fade cues with video cues. We've already looked at using fade cues with audio cues, but now we'll see what fade cues can do with video. The first thing to note is that you can fade the audio of a video cue in just the same way that you can for an audio cue. So let's take a video. Now let's say we want to fade it up at the start and fade it down at the end. So we'll need two fade cues. Assign both of them to the video. Now we need to tell the video to be silent at the beginning. And then this first cue will fade up the audio. And this second cue will fade it down again. Now let's change both fades to be 3 seconds each. Now we just need to set our auto continues. So we want the fade up to start at the very beginning. So this needs to be 0 seconds. And then we want the fade down to finish by the end. Now the video is 12 seconds long. So if we set this to 9 seconds, then it should fade out by the end of the video. So let's try that. That worked well, but now let's see what fade cues could do with videos. It would be nice if the video also faded in and out as well as the audio. To make this happen, we need to fade the opacity. Opacity is just how visible something is. 100% means it's completely visible, and 0% means it's invisible. So if we fade from 0% to 100%, then it will fade in the video. So first, we need to set the video to have 0% opacity at the start. So click on the video, go to Display and Geometry, and on opacity type in 0. If we now play the video, you can hear it, but you can't see any picture. So now we need to tell the fades to fade the video in and out. So in the first fade, go to Geometry and tick the box for opacity. As it's already set to 100%, we're done on this cue. So now for the fade out. Go to the other fade, again tick the box for opacity, but then this time set it to 0. Now let's play our video. You can see that it fades in at the start, and then fades out again at the end. Another use for this would be to make a photo slideshow. Let's take 3 images. We want all of them to fade up, so the first thing we need to do is set their opacities to 0. Now let's make the first one fade up. So we need a fade cue. We assign it to this image, and then we tick opacity on 100%. And let's put in an auto continue so that it starts straight away. Now for the second one, we want to make that fade up too, but we also want the previous one to fade down at the same time. So we'll need 2 fade cues. This first one is going to affect the second image, and the next one will affect the first image. On the second image, we need to set the opacity to 100, and on the second, we need to set the opacity to 0. And then we want all 3 of these cues to go together. Don't forget on this one to also tick the Stop Target When Done button. Now we need to do the same for the third picture. So again, 2 fade cues. This one is going to work on the third picture while this one works on the second. This needs to set the opacity to 100%. This needs to set it to 0%. Not forgetting to stop target when done. And then make them auto continue. Finally, we need to fade out the last picture. So bring in one more fade cue, assign it to the third picture, set the opacity to 0, and stop target when done. Now let's have a look. So we go to the first picture, it fades in. Then when we're ready, we go to the second picture. As one image fades in, the other fades out, creating a crossfade effect. Now the third picture. And finally we'll fade out the last picture. The most important thing here is to remember to stop the videos or images when you're done with them. They use a lot more processing power than audio does, so if you accidentally leave lots of them running in the background, eventually your computer will start to struggle. So that's fading opacity, but there are other attributes that you can fade with videos and images too. So let's get our After Dark logo, and we'll set it to not fill the screen, and let's move it to the top left hand corner using translation. Now we'll add some fade cues. And we'll assign them all to our logo. And then we'll make them all 3-second fades. A quicker way to change the fade time of a cue is to do it here. Now let's name them all to what we're going to make them do, so it's easier to follow. And now let's set them up. So this one's moving it to the center, so we're going to affect the translation and set it to 0, 0, which is the center. On this one, we're going to rotate the x-axis. So set this to x, tick the rotation, and we'll type in 50. This one is going to rotate y, so we'll select y rotation, tick the box, and again 50. Finally, this one is going to rotate around z, so select z, tick the box, and type 50. This cue is going to reset the rotation back to being flat. So we tick this box, and then we want to go minus 50, minus 50, minus 50. Finally, we're going to scale up our image. So on here, tick scale, and we'll type in our value. Now let's make each cue auto follow from each other. So let's give it a go. It moves, it rotates about X, it rotates about Y, it rotates about Z, then it rotates back, and finally it scales up. So as you can see, you can fade any attribute of a video cue to move your images and videos wherever you like on the screen. That concludes our tutorial on fading video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.